Oh, it's finally that time of the year again. Yes, we got all the the autumn seeds rather, that are finally ready to go in the garden. I've been away for a week or two. It's rained for a couple of days and the weather is starting to cool down. So it is the perfect time to get in the garden and start sowing the seeds for the cooler months. G'day and welcome back to another video on Bowler's Backyard. I've been away for a minute, but now that I'm back, we can start to get all the old stuff out, all of the summer vegetables that are starting to die off. I've done most of that in the last video. Probably got a bit of the tomatoes to go left, and to start planning and planting all of the new autumn seeds. I've got close to 20 different vegetables that I'm going to start planting in. I've got a couple of empty garden beds that I need to fill with soil. I'm really excited, and as you can see, so is my little man. So join me today as we get out in the garden and we start planting the seeds and get a bit of information on how to start doing that. Let's go. Now, step one of this journey is going to be planning the garden bed, where all the seeds are going to go, because some seeds do really well together and some seeds do not do really well together. Now, I think we all know by this point that I'm definitely not an expert. I'm learning as we go. So I don't really know 100% what vegetables go really well together, what are companion plants and what are not. So yeah, my wife is the brains behind the operation, and she's ever so gracefully helped by printing off these tables to help me understand what plants go really well together and what don't. Another thing that's really helpful is we plan it out every month what vegetables are sort of good to plant in that month. Now, there are plenty of apps and programs and websites online that'll help you plan this much more efficiently and effectively. I'm doing it old school today. I sort of draw it out. This is the garden bed as I see it. The back ones, the 4 in the middle, and I've got a couple missing here because I haven't built them yet. That's another video. And a couple here that are empty. So this one's already got flowers in it. This one's got flowers in it. That one's got pumpkins in it. And that's about it. And so I'm going to start figuring out which vegetables can go together, which are happy to live next to each other, and start writing them in there and getting ready to plant. So this is step one. All right, so this is the plan that I'm going to go with this season. This is the second draft I did. The first one, I had them sort of 3 vegetables, especially for the ones on the ground. I had 3 vegetables in each bed, and then I've got 11 beds that I need to fill, and I don't have that many vegetables to put in here right now, and I don't feel like buying more. So I thinned them out a little bit, and what I'm going to do this year is plant more herbs and flowers in between them. We've got about a dozen edible flowers that we have in seeds to try and prevent the insects getting onto the plants. So I know I've got 28 spot lady beetles. We get slugs, caterpillars, snails, and aphids, and all sorts of different things. It's really hard to make the vegetables really palatable to the kids and even my wife if you can see all these insects and grubs all over your plants. So I'm going to try and keep up with the insecticides and the spray and the natural sprays like that, and also plant flowers and herbs in between it to try and naturally keep the insects away. What we've got now is I've thinned it out a little bit to have only 2 vegetables per garden bed, and I'm going to plant flowers and herbs in between them all. I'm going to have to go get some soil, fill in the raised garden beds that don't have any soil in them yet, and then I'll come back and we're going to have to start sowing these seeds. I'm excited. Let's go. So we've gone and got some soil. We got 2 scoops of fill, which is just from build sites, and 3 scoops of the premium garden mix. Now, as you know, on the other raised beds, I've got logs and sleepers all underneath. So the fill is for the bottom. It's cheaper. It saved me about $30 to do it that way. And so we're ready to go. We're going to start filling, and then in a moment, we'll start getting the seed beds ready. What do you reckon, boy? He's excited. All right, all the soil has been put in the beds. I'm going to clean up everything. I'm going to whip a snip around, I'm going to mow, and I'm going to clean up the tomato patch. There are a heap of red tomatoes ready to go, so I'm going to get in there, get all the good tomatoes, then I'm going to pull the plants out all together, and then I'm going to prepare it, and then we're going to start sowing. Well, unfortunately, there is not a lot of tomatoes to be picked here. I've got 6 there, and that is all that's going to be good. I went away for about 10 days, and when I came back, it rained for 2 days. So inconsistent watering can mean that the tomatoes will just split. They'll split, and they're no good. So I reckon 80% of these are split, and then the rest of them, as I walk through the garden, so you can see they're all split. That's just inconsistent watering. And the rest of them, there is a heap of stink bugs in there at the moment, and fruit fly. So none of these are going to be any good. I'm just going to go in there and rip the lot out. Ooh, I hope that was as satisfying for you as it was for me. Whoa. So in this first bed, I'm going to go back to carrots. This was where the carrots grew last time. This is where I harvested all the seeds. So why change a good thing? So we're going to do a row of the normal orange carrots and a row of the colourful carrots. And then in the middle and intermittent, I'll plant some flowering plants around the bed as well. So there's nothing special about the way that I plant these carrots. I pretty well just pick a row and I just drag a very thin, very shallow line. You don't want them any deeper than 5 mil. And then when you push them in there, you just cover them up with a bit of the soil. So it's as easy as that. Just don't make it too complicated with the carrots. Don't need to make a mound, don't need to bury them too deeply. And then wet them in once you put the seeds in. So let's get started. Now, I bet you're as excited as I am to plant the carrot seeds that I harvested myself, but I do still have the store-bought seeds available, so I'm going to use these up first before I use the ones that I made or harvested myself. So what you do is you get a handful, just pinch them in and just gently, sparsely, not too sparsely, sprinkle them through. You can thin them out once they start growing. If you see a lot of carrots growing on top of each other, you do want to thin them out. If you don't thin them out, they'll compete for the space underneath the ground and you'll get miserable looking little carrots. So just like that, and then we cover them up. No massive science to it. Cover it up and then wet them in, ready to go. You wouldn't read about it. As it would have it, we actually ran out of the coloured carrots, so we're going to use Boller's Backyard seeds that we harvested last year. Well, sorry, early this year. Get some seeds out. Now these have got a little, not many of them, but a little bit of the shells, the husks on them. So this is going to be a little bit of an experiment. I didn't dry them anywhere off the plant. I just let them dry on the plant. So let's see how they go. I'm excited to see if they work or not, because it means that I can do this every year and never have to buy any seeds. That's the plan. There we go. If I could turn back time, if I could find a way. Right, so this bed's going to be a little less ordered. It's going to be leafy lettuce, seeds, and a little bit of rocket just scattered around the bed like we have done in previous years. On a previous video, I have actually sowed my self-harvested seeds, and it was in the middle of the summer, at the start of the summer, so they struggled. I had about probably 3 lettuce in here that were growing, not very strong. So I'm going to start again, and hopefully the seeds do a little bit better with a bit of rocket. There is a lot of different methods to how you grow your veggies with no-till, no disruption at all. And so I do like no-till soil where they don't turn it all up to plant everything in, but I also like things looking clean, nice and neat. So although this isn't turned and like dug down deep, I've just raked the surface to make it look nice and fresh, and then I'll plant the seeds essentially on top. So what I'm going to do is get a little sprinkle full of each seeds and just sprinkle them in areas sort of thing, and then cover it all up and water it down as well. Let's have a go. So this one was the yellow tomato bed. So I've put all the tomatoes out of here, and I've also put all the weeds out. So it looks like that I've turned it, but I haven't. All right, it just has been all the weeds pulled out and all the topsoil has just been all roughed up. So in this bed, I'm going to put iceberg lettuce, Chinese cabbage, and right down the middle, I'm going to put some radish. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a nice row down the middle, but with the lettuces, I'm going to stagger them, like zigzag them. You don't want them to be too close together. They do grow out. You want them to be at least 30 centimeters apart. And if they grow too close together, they'll start to bunch up and they can either get rotten in the middle where they're touching, or they just don't form properly and they look yucky. So I'm going to probably go like one. I'll start on this side, so it's away from that pole. So we go one here, one here, one here, one here, one here, and so on and so forth. So I'm not going to break all the ground around it. I'm pretty well just going to break a little bit of the soil here. They don't create big tubers, so they're just going to create a nice little root system on top. So that's as good as they're going to get. So I'll just get the seeds out, put one or probably put 2 in each thing. If I get 2 seeds come up at 2 sprouts come up at the same place, I'll thin them out and pull one out. I'm going to do the same with the Chinese cabbage, zigzag them out. They're pretty well the same as the iceberg lettuce. You don't want too close. And then the radishes, I'm gonna go sprinkle them nice like the carrot and lettuce, nice 5 mil deep, cover them up, and we'll give this bed a nice water. Now you'll notice that I'm just planting them straight in the ground because I'm a little bit lazy. It is much easier. I have found over the last couple of years that it is easier if you do them in seed trays and you grow them in a nice controlled area where there's no wind and beating down on the sunlight, and you can water them more consistently. So if you plant them straight in the garden bed, it is harder. But if you take a little bit more care, get out here often, make sure they're watered, make sure they're not getting taken over by weeds or getting eaten by insects, you can keep them alive. So I'm planting them straight in the bed. You're more than happy to do that, but it is a little bit harder than putting them in seed trays. Okie dokie, this is the cabbage and broccoli bed. Much the same as the iceberg lettuce. I've zigzagged them, 5 mil deep, plant them in, cover them up. I'm going to put some flowers in later on. They are sweet potatoes. Shh, don't tell anyone. I'm too stubborn to pull them out. So, same as the last one. Rinse and repeat. Okie dokie, so this is the very last ground level bed, which will be cauliflower and Brussels sprouts, which is the exact same as the broccoli and cabbage. We zigzag them. Again, rinse and repeat. We plant them here, and another one, 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 and another one. And then we plant some Brussels sprouts, and another one, and another one, and another one. Hopefully I don't get copyrighted for that. Alrighty, so this is day 2 of sowing the autumn seeds. Today got away from me yesterday. Not yesterday, it was probably about 4 or 5 days ago. So we've actually got the carrot seeds popping up. You can see it's pretty windy. I reckon the camera's probably shaking. And I'll show you something really interesting in the tomato bed. Probably a reason to make sure you pick up all your tomatoes. It looks pretty cool. But this bed here is the celery and daikon radish. Now the celery, again, I'm an amateur. It says to sow it from spring through autumn, but we're doing it the opposite. I reckon we've got plenty of months here to grow it all out, so should be fine. And the other one is daikon radish, and it says it's super hardy. You can plant it all year round, no dramas. Both of them, 5 mil deep. I'm going to make 2 rows, make them nice and uniform, and just go like that. The next bed right next door is going to be kale. Plant at the same depth, 6 mil deep, a bit further spaced apart because they grow right nice, big and leafy. And then I got beetroot as well. Bury a little bit deeper at 12 mil deep. So next one. All right, and in the very last bed, we've got the pak choy and the leek. And I'm going to do much the same as all the other ones. Give a very shallow track down the middle, about 5 to 12 mil deep. That's a very similar trend all the way around. Some of them say put them in seed boxes or punnets, and others say you can just sow straight into the bed. So I've already spoken about it. It's a bit easier to do it this way. And this is where I like doing it. So we're just going to plant these in, and that's the final bed all done. And then we'll go and have a look at what's already started growing. So there you go. After a couple of days, the autumn seeding is done. Now, you could probably tell that I didn't go into too much detail about all of the seeding techniques and all special things that you needed to do because, to be honest, there really isn't that much to it. You read the seed packets for the first couple of times when you're doing it. It'll tell you, it'll give you the basic information, and I want it to seem as easy as possible. You don't need to be Don Burke to get out there and start planting some seeds in your garden and getting some veggies. So it'll also see as an experiment towards the end. You and I can grow them together. You'll be as excited as I am to see whether these veggies come through. Now, it's already been 5 days, and the carrots have started sprouting. I'll try and get some nice little shots of that. The lettuce have already been decimated by some sort of insect or grub. I'm pretty sure they're slugs. And you can already see a hell of a lot of tomatoes popping out from where I've pulled out all the old plants. So it's a bit of a hint to get all the old tomatoes out of there before you start replanting, because there are thousands of tomatoes that are popping up. among everything else that's popping up that I planted. So thanks for joining me while we plant the autumn seeds. I can't wait for a couple months' time when we start harvesting all of the vegetables, and I reckon you'll be just excited because you'll be here when we planted them. So thanks for joining me, and I'll see you out in the next one in Bowler's Backyard.
Welcome to Bowler's Backyard, and today here I want to restate that we hate two things: weeds and people who don't subscribe. So remember to like and subscribe.